All right, all right, all right. What up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Jeannie, and you already know what it is. So let's just get into the energy because the energy is giving like every single day. And you know I'm ready to talk about it with you, baby. So let's get into the energy, Virgo. The overall energy is the meek, okay? I'll put it in the comments down below so that you can listen to it as well. But the overall energy that I got from this song is the meek shall inherit the earth, Virgo. And there are things that you are now inheriting from being meek and humble. Okay. I feel like I'm talking to some Virgos who grew up with childhood traumas. Okay. You grew up seeing your family fight demons. You grew up in an atmosphere of violence or drug abuse or regular abuse, whatever that may be for you. You grew up in an atmosphere that was not conducive for your highest good. And then you took that energy and you went out into the world, and those same atmospheres, spirits, familiar spirits, and demons guided you and helps you navigate into places that weren't good for you either. And I feel like once you made it to those places, Virgo, you got sat down. You were made to sit down in the place where you were led. And in that place of sitting down, I feel like you found humbleness. I feel like you saved yourself. Okay, some of you could have asked God to help save you, but most of you saved yourself. Okay, and because of this, you started making a God out of all of your talents. Okay. So while you were in some type of situation that you were in, you sat there long enough to learn your talents. Okay. I could be talking to people who are sitting there now, learning themselves, learning who they truly are, getting rid of familiar spirits, getting rid of the atmosphere, getting rid of pre programmed modes of existence. Or I could be talking to people who have already done it and are already living in the fruits of your labor. Either way it goes, I'm talking to a group of people who are recognizing, who have sat with themselves and been aware of their environment long enough to pick up on familiar spirits, to pick up on demons, to pick up on the atmosphere, to pick up on your own triggers, to pick up on yourself in a way that you can now protect yourself from anger, protect yourself from failure, protect yourself from navigating and leading back to places that keep you stuck. I'm talking to some people who have become aware of themselves so much that now you can play upon your triggers, play upon your choices, play upon your emotions in a way where you are always in control. And I'm talking to people who have learned that they have certain talents just by sitting still. Okay, Wheel of Fortune, the Five of Swords, the Ace of Swords. I'm talking to people who have changed their fortune after being defeated. Ace of Swords. You gained victory after defeat, but it was only by sitting in defeat could you be humble enough to see how to transform the situation for your highest good. And once you have done that, Virgo, it has shown you talents. Okay, it has shown you what you are good at. It has shown you things about yourself that you can use, knowledge about yourself that you can use for your highest good. With the Page of Swords, this is you seeing how to create victory in a impoverished situation. This is you seeing blessings in negativity. This is you being able to discern the energy in a way where no circumstance that you are put in cannot be elevated to a higher good. And out of this, you have learned your talents. You have learned what you are good at. Okay? Have you ever experienced a situation where you were so down low that the only thing you could do was puzzles and drawing and art and pacifying your time? I'm talking to some people who what basically made an insane asylum for themselves to heal themselves. Have y'all ever, maybe it's just me, okay? Have y'all ever have y'all ever like gone to mental health services or mental asylums or counseling or blah blah blah, right? And the first thing that they tell you to do is like draw pictures and art. You ever wonder why? Like at first it may have pissed you off, like I got all these problems and you want me to sit here and color? Like, but then when you started doing it, when you sat there and started to color, when you sat there and started to look at yourself, when you sat there and started to sit in the energy instead of running away from it, you were able to process it in a way where you could see a way out of all things. And this gave you a level of wisdom that allowed you to triumph over your past. And this is the second part of the song that really stood out to me, Virgo, was it says, wickedness ran into my family. Wickedness ran in my family tree until it ran into me. Whew. Ain't that a bar? Okay. Wickedness ran in my family tree until it ran into me. Wickedness came from you. You saw wickedness growing up. You were born in it. Wickedness was a familiar spirit. Negativity and frustration and drinking and drugs were familiar spirits to you until you figured out how to conquer them. And you could be the first person in your family that was able to conquer familiar spirits, able to conquer generational curses, able to conquer generational or childhood trauma. In a way, Nine of Cups, Hangman, Nine of Swords, in a way where you get dream fulfillment out of being in the dark. This is the energy of you using all things for your highest good. And because you humbled yourself enough to figure out who you are and what you are not, you're able to come and overcome all conflicts, good and bad, and unnecessary drama. You are able to tame the beast inside of you and really grab a hold of chaos and whoop his ass. Okay, I'm talking to some people who are taking steps forward to uphold this new person that you wanted to be. At first, Virgo, you could have been trying to change your characteristics, change yourself, and you found yourself failing time after time. But after you did that over and over again, you realize that you have to want. Okay, the first step of fixing the problem is admitting the problem. Some of you are just running away and pretending like things were okay and it wasn't. And that's why you were sat down in the energy until you recognized what wasn't okay and what is. And once you recognize that, Virgo, you could really become the new person that you wanted to be. And it wasn't a lie anymore. It wasn't fictitious anymore. It wasn't a goal anymore. It was you. Some of you are overcoming addictions and complications and things in your past that you struggled with overcoming before, simply off of making up your mind that today is the day to balance all things. Today is the day that I win. So anything that was interfering with you, anything that was trying to come against you, Virgo, could not come against you because you were in control. And because of this, you were able to overcome all obstacles while learning things about yourself. And most people were not able to do it. That's why we're going back to that lyric, that generational curses. What was it? Let me not. Okay. Wickedness ran in my family tree till it ran into me. Some of your family members are still struggling with the things that you are overcoming. And it's not that you're better. You have to humble yourself to realize the problems about yourself to elevate. And now that you are elevated, it's time to humble yourself again. All right? Because once you start receiving the fruit of your changes, of the new person that you have become, you then have to humble yourself and go back to the drawing board and learn from people, places, and things above you so that you can continue to elevate. The thing about ascension is about elevating past who you were, but still being humble enough to know that you don't know everything, that you don't hold all of the knowledge and the wisdom that is out there for you. Ascension comes with, rising above that old you, but still staying humble enough to learn more and step into environments that will keep you ascending. Okay. And at this time, you could be bearing a lot of fruit. Okay, you could be getting a lot of offers, opportunities. Okay, you could be seeing a lot of prosperity in your life. And it all came from just sitting down and looking at yourself. So, Virgo, at this time, I'm talking to a lot of people who have learned themselves via way of the things that you had to go through. You have learned yourself. Be away of the struggles. Be away of the struggles that was placed upon you. Some of you have a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things that you will focus on, but you can't because you need to achieve. That's why God sat you down. Some of you had so much, temperance in the tower, woo, and the Queen of Swords. Some of you had so many responsibilities and so many things placed on you, you couldn't even begin to start unlearning and changing and taking care of yourself. Yourself got pushed to the back, Virgo, and you started to only focus on things that you could take care of, and that's why you were sat down. That's why you had to become humble. That's why God had to make you stay in a circumstances longer than you wanted to. It was because you had to learn how to take care of your responsibilities and take care of yourself. Because if you cannot take care of yourself and heal your own wounds and fix yourself, you are just going to walk into new opportunities, walk into new fruit, walk into 1111, walk into new places with that same trauma, with that same baggage, with those same familiar spirits that will weigh down every situation and make it harder and harder for you to succeed. So I'm talking to some people who have learned how to temper and change and fix themselves and set boundaries to things so that you can stay loving, so that you can stay open and receptive, so you can continue to listen to your intuition and thrive. Okay? I'm also picking up on being burdened by cold people. There it is. Cold people. So some of you excuse me. Some of you dealt with relationships that was empathic and narcissistic dynamics. I'm not saying you dealt with a narcissist because the King of Swords is upright. I'm just talking about narcissistic dynamics in which people didn't really show you the love that you were giving out. And you were burdened because it made you confused about yourself. There it is. Okay, so the relationship dynamics that you have been surrounded by confused you, put you in a state of confusion. You lost your sense of who you are. You lost your sense of who your characteristics is. You lost everything about yourself because you were showing up in dynamics in order just to succeed. And once those dynamics were taken away from you, Virgo, I feel like you were able to step back into your power. And not only step back into your power, but learn more about yourself. Let me tell you a story. I had walked into rooms with my head down, and I would tell people about myself, and then they'd be like, "Wow, you're an amazing person. Like, why is your head down?" And I had to realize the way that I saw myself was not the way that other people saw me. I was doing a whole lot. Like I am an amazing person, and I didn't even recognize that until I stepped back into my energy, and I was like, "Oh, I have been humbling myself and lowering my self-worth by my own standards." But when I told other people about myself, they told me how amazing I was. And I couldn't even see it because I was in confusion because of the dynamics that I was placed in. See, some of you were in relationships with people who saw your value, but they didn't want you to show up in your value because it made them insecure. So they tried to chip away at your power and your confidence and your value so that you would show up and be subservient to them. And see, a lot of Virgos I'm talking to are now stepping back in their power and won't be subservient to a bitch that cannot lead them, a bitch or a dude that cannot lead them in the way that makes them more powerful. A lot of you are now recognizing that your partnerships and the people, places, and things in your work environment around you was taken away from your power and not allowing you to empower yourself. And the only way that you were going to step into your real power was to recognize the room, recognize the atmosphere, recognize the familiar spirits. And once you start recognizing them, Virgo, it was easy to combat them. It was easy to stand in your power, show up in rooms with your power, not allowing you to step into anything and make you feel subservient any type of way. I have another example. Some of you, have you ever been on a job interview and you need this job? You need this job, right? So you go to the job interview and you show up meek. You show up meek, okay? Because you think these people who are giving you a job are above you in some type of way, right? And when you do that, that chips away at your confidence, it chips away at your power. And you have to recognize, like, even though I need this job, they need me. They need my expertise. They need me to show up to work for them. It's the other way around. And when you started to recognize your power, the dynamics shift in a way where you are no longer feeling like somebody is above me, but I am, oh, I'm not greater than anybody else, but nobody else is greater than me. Woo! And when you have that revelation, Virgo, it allows you to stand up with a level of power and authority that no one could ever take for you. So when you go to an interview, you show up charismatic, you show up inspirational, you show up in your full power and authority because you know they need you as much as you do. And you just lost yourself for a second. And when you lost yourself for a second, you were allowing spirits to confuse you about who you were, but no longer. A lot of you have been purging your home, getting rid of, and fighting against spirits. And when I say that, Nine of Pentacles, and when I say that, don't get it confused. Okay, these spirits are the thing that makes you feel like you're not good enough. That's a fucking spirit. There's a spirit of depression. There's a spirit of addiction. There's a spirit of low confidence. There's a spirit of blah, blah, blah. You feel me? These are familiar spirits that were used to living around you because you would hold them. You would hold that spirit. You would entertain that spirit. You would tell that spirit, yeah, I'm depressed. And that spirit was like, yeah, Virgo depressed. So the depression spirit lived around you. But now I'm talking to some people who are living in their confidence, living in their power, and they're squaring up with these familiar spirits instead of taking on the burden of that low vibration. You squaring up with it. You fighting these spirits off. Nah, I'm not depressed actually. I'm not low vibrational actually. I'm not ugly actually. And when you started fighting these spirits, Virgo, they didn't want to hang out around you no more. They had to go find somebody else that will take on their burden, take on their pressure, 111, take on that energy so that they can survive. But don't get it twisted. When you stand in your power, those spirits are always looking for a way to come in. So now you're in the energy of squaring up, always protecting yourself, always cleansing your energy, always renewing your self-worth and renewing a spirit inside of you that is conducive to the environment. And when you started doing that, these familiar spirits started to die. These familiar spirits started to end rapidly. There were sudden endings to the things that were causing confusion in your situation. You were able to see clearly. And although getting rid of addictions, although fighting off spirits that kept you in a comfort zone was hard to do, it was way better than not living in your power, living in your glory. It was way better to walk away than to be weighed down by things that are not you. And I feel like Virgo, Virgo, when you started walking away from defeat, oh, nah. When you started walking away from these things, you were able to admit defeat. And that's what I was going into in the beginning of this. The first step in changing the problem is admitting the problem, admitting defeat. Okay? Walking away from familiar spirits needed you to walk away in defeat. It made you feel stressed. It made you feel humble because I'm telling you, some of these familiar spirits were comfortable to live in. So when you stepped out of them and you went into the world, you felt a level of defeat because now you have to lower yourself again to realize that it's always a learning process. Now you got to go find more wisdom. Now you got to find new spirits, new familiar energy that will be more conducive to you. But this is the exact position. Look, walking away in defeat. This is the exact position that God wanted you in. Because when you do that, Virgo, you start to inherit more wisdom. You start to inherit more knowledge. You allow the angels to come in and break off of you defeat. And you start inheriting more wisdom, knowledge, and power and authority. And a lot of you did this by yourself through heartache, through pain. You stood tall. Through downfalls, you stood tall. And because of this, Virgo, now you can start to protect the new version of yourself that you were guided to create. Now that you can protect the new energy that you have, and you're moving forward in a new way, never before. A carefree, look at that carefree energy. No longer you bound by low vibrational familiar spirits, but the only spirits around you is high vibrational things that encourage you to take leaps, because even if you fall, you would have never got anywhere if you never took that leap. So as you walk away and really end out things that no longer serve you, really start to transform your life. It's a lot of hard work, Virgo. You may be put into working more. Okay, because a lot of you were sat down for a moment, sat down for a period of time, and it was only to evaluate yourself. But now that you have transformed, you are able to work harder. But once you start working and reaping the fruits of that work, you come back to a pause. Okay, and this is the energy that I'm seeing for most of you, where you are in the process of changing and purging yourself. You have to make decisions. Do I stay in my comfort zone that align with my emotions, or do I move with my intellect? And when you take moments to pause and think about your steps before you take them, you can make the best possible choice. And I feel like a lot of you are taking 5 steps forward and then 2 steps back. But that's all right, because you know in those 2 steps back that you can learn the wisdom that you need to take 5 more steps forward. And this is the energy. You know by the fruit that things are working for you. Okay, so as you accumulate your fruit, Virgo, as you accumulate your new characteristics and your new power and your new talents, you have a decision. You have a decision. You can start an entrepreneurship opportunity where you show other people how you overcame your problems, or you could put yourself back into school, knowledge, other jobs, other things to help you continue to move forward. It's up to you. Some of you have collected enough talents and transform your life in a way where you could write a book. You could start a podcast. You could tell people about the things that you have overcome, because these are now talents that you have overcame. Or you could stay more humble and learn more knowledge and wisdom and wait till you're ready to put it out. Either way, I'm talking to a lot of you who has a lot more choices, a lot more opportunities, a lot more avenues than you had previously. And as the world opens up for you, you got to make pertinent decisions that are led by your highest good, by your higher consciousness, by familiar spirits that teach you wisdom and guidance instead of pre-programmed realities. This is the energy. This is the energy of seeing everybody in your family just hop into work, hop into jobs, and slave away. But you know you can either do that or explore your talents. And a lot of you are being led by your intuition to allow your talents to pay you. And you're going to start to see opportunities in which your talents and the things that you have learned could pay you, could bring sufficiency instead of lack. And I feel like at one point you rejected these things because you felt like you weren't enough. You were in this meek, humble energy. Because of your dynamics, you gave away your power, and you may not have gone towards those opportunities that were presented just by being who you are. World card. It's over. Now you're stepping into a level of authority and a level of power where you can do all things. This is giving me the energy where at first you felt like you didn't have the time of the day because you were being forced to sit down because you are so overburdened by everything going on in your life. You felt like you were missing time, you were missing energy, you were missing resources, you were missing opportunities to even take a step further. But now, Virgo, you have all the time in the world. You're going to start noticing that your days are longer, that your energy levels are up. You're going to start noticing more positive characteristics about yourself. You are going to start noticing that you are able to balance out opposites and completing multiple tasks at once instead of being overwhelmed by one thing. I'm talking to some people who are recognizing themselves and knowing their triggers that allowed them to waste time in the past. And now you're maneuvering around it in a way where you'll never waste your time again. You'll never be angry over spilt milk again because you recognize that anger is not conducive to the energy. But it took a whole lot of sitting there being angry, a whole lot of sitting there being frustrated, a whole lot of sitting there not getting anything done to learn how to get everything done at once. And now you're staying grounded where your family would react. This all goes back to family and generational curses. And where you would react in a different way based off of your program, now you're acting in a positive way in every situation you come into. And you're setting appropriate boundaries so that you can stay in your power, stay on your throne. And because of this, Virgo, you're going to see a lot of grace. You're going to see a lot of divine intervention. You're going to see a lot of new beginnings, new work, new opportunity. You're going to be able to travel. You're going to be able to create. You're going to see a whole lot of fertility and divine intervention in your energy. And I pray that this wave of prosperity never subsides for you, Virgo. I pray that every single person listening to me under the sound of my voice continues to alchemize all energy sent towards you for your highest good, and you will never, ever, ever, ever be trapped in a confused state ever again. Some of you were being harassed and taunted and stressed out purposely so that you could never get to this point. And I pray that you never allow yourself to slip back into the confusion of not knowing who you are ever again. Hallelujah. All glory and thanks to the Most High. Okay? All glory and thanks to the Most High. Yeah, there's a fork in the road and it's time to do the dishes, Virgo. There's no going back to that past you. There's no going back to confusion. There's no going back to familiar spirits. And that was one of the things that I was talking about, because some of you had implemented changes, but you were able to hold on to those changes because you backslid on your boundaries. You backslid on your convictions. And there was a lot of manipulation going on as well. All right. But I'm going to see this for your highest good, Virgo. There's no going back. There's only manifesting the future. And since you're not going back, it's like you're creating new rituals for yourself, new routines that aid in the sublimation of your magical powers, your spiritual powers, your divine given talents. And because you are walking forward in your divine spiritual powers, you're going to be able to manifest all new things. Security. You're going to be able to manifest security, material comfort, strong and enduring bonds, unwavering dedication towards the things that serve you. And now that you are anchored and grounded in truth and the word, Virgo, you're going to see a lot more wish fulfillment coming in. You're going to see a lot more manifestation. You're going to see your hopes and your wishes come to fruition, even when people betray you, Even when they cut you deep, even when contrary spirits come near you, you squaring up with their ass. Now, I'm no longer I'm no longer allowing contrary spirits to weigh me down. I'm squaring up with these hoes. And once you start fighting, Virgo, you know these spirits know that you are protecting yourself, and when the time is right, these spirits know that they have to bow down to your authority because you sacrificed the spirit. They know they got to get away from them. They know they're not welcome in the energy. They know that they can't whisper little negative things in your ear and lower your vibration ever again. Oh, I love this energy for you, Virgo. 1, 2, 3 on the clock. Okay, this took a lot of self-reflecting, shadow work, and vanity, and seeing the souls. Like I said, every single time you ascend, you're gonna have to humble yourself again. Life is a continuance of humbling and inheriting. Okay, so when you manifest your wishes and dreams, you're gonna have to reflect about how to how to continue your ascension. Okay, there's never an ending to wisdom. There is never an ending to knowledge. There is never an ending to opportunities. These things are abundant and continuous in the world. Last one here for the Virgos. Okay, being strategic, thinking it through, power of the mind, and the battle is unfolding. And because, Virgo, when you start seeing the fruit of your wishes coming in, you know you have to humble yourself. You know for a fact what to do. You know how to be strategic. You know how to move. You know how to take power over your mind and not let contrary spirits weigh you down. You know that it's a battle unfolding. Instead of letting contrary spirits fuck up my manifestation, I'm squaring up with these hoes. I'm battling the spirit. And that type of energy will continue to add prosperity and fruit in your life. You're going to be getting a lot of phone calls, a lot of yeses. Spirit needs you to continue to live in this energy. Okay, whatever they have taught you from the seasons previously, you have learned enough wisdom to preserve through any problem. All right, you got enough stored up wisdom in that camel hump to overcome and continue to ascend if you don't go back to being confused by contrary spirits. This is that contrary spirit I was talking about. You have learned the things that you need to preserve and overcome things that were allowing your life to run aimlessly. Okay? Like I said, also, there's the energy 5 steps forward, 2 steps back. And if you stay in those 2 steps back, you allow it to run aimlessly. You got to figure out how to take 5 more steps forward. Climbing to the ladder of success. Yeah, I'm talking to some Virgos who will no longer allow contrary spirits to stop their ascension. I'm talking to some ones who have higher heights. You have better things planned for your life. God has given you a spiritual calling, and you know for a fact that you are not done in life, that this is not the fullness of everything that you could be. I am talking to some Virgos who knows that you have a way bigger purpose, a way bigger life, way bigger opportunities than the ones that you have manifested now. And if you continue to preserve and you continue to move forward and fight against these contrary spirits, you will be able to continue to succeed. All right? And I hope that every single one of you under the sound of my voice continues to move towards success and move towards the calling and the huge, abundant opportunities that you can come into if you continue to move forward. This is the energy that I have for you. If you resonate with anything here, please give me a like, comment down below. Subscribe to the channel, see what's coming up next to the Virgos. Peace.